What's up, everybody? Big shout out to everybody who's jumping over from the baseball live stream to join us here. And we're ready to get our draft on. PPR 12 team. You know how we roll. Every week we're doing a mock draft to get you ready for fantasy football season because it's not that far away. You think I'm kidding? I'm not. Because just in a couple of weeks, we're going to start hearing about training camp. You already hear some of the rumors from OTAs and players who are rising and falling. Yeah, you can probably ignore some of that noise, like the Chase Claypool hype and things like that. But at the same time, we got to put some stock into it, right?
I put stock into not really OTAs so much because remember, this isn't like training camp. I'll put stock into if we hear about rookies maybe playing with the ones or who's playing with the ones or not. I'm not going to put stock into stuff like who looks good. And like, oh, this guy looks so good. Yeah, playing against the twos and the threes, you know what I mean? In shorts, like who cares? You know what I mean? I think that does happen a lot. People get caught up in that.
Yeah. If you can't look good just running out there in the field, then there's a problem. You should look you could have the offense, the rest, no defense. So, anyways, got our draft on right here, and Chris, you took the 2, and you get CMC. That's a nice prize.
Yeah, I'll take CMC. I almost took the 101 tonight, but I was like, I don't know if I feel like drafting CMC tonight. But he falls me at the 2, so I guess I'm drafting CMC tonight.
Yeah. Now, CeeDee Lamb at the 1. Are you opposed to that anyway? Obviously, it's not a bad pick, but do you think CMC has to be the number 1 pick?
No, I don't think he has to be the number 1 pick. Mexi Madden, where you at?
All right. Yeah, we filled up pretty quick. I mean, that's just how it is. Only June, early June, we're already filling up in less than a minute from when we start streaming. So,
Mexi Madden, where are you? You just joined. There he goes. Okay. You're on the clock, buddy. There we go. Okay, welcome back.
All right. Yeah.
All right, now I didn't notice this before. I didn't notice it now with the 110 slime ball season. Didn't he auto draft like the second half of his draft last time?
Yes, and that's not the first time either. So, look, if you're in this, you're in it for the whole thing. Otherwise, we're gonna let somebody else.
This is your last chance. If you auto the second half, I'm not gonna let you in next time.
Yeah, good catch. Got some people here wanting to get in.
Yeah, we definitely. This isn't like the olden days where it's like, hey, we'll take anybody. We don't care. Did we used to do mock drafts for like 3 or 4 picks for like computer picks because we couldn't even fill these things?
The good old days. No, the rough beginning phase, but yeah, I like this better.
I definitely like this better.
All right, time to show and prove, slime ball.
I mean, the draft only takes like 45 minutes or so. Just hang out for 45 minutes and draft. If you can't, then let somebody else join.
Yeah, exactly. All right. At the turn here,
Breece Hall at the 111. Very nice. Very nice.
And on Garrett Wilson's gone. The 4 running backs taken is pretty typical. I mean, I usually go JT here. I'm wondering if I should go double RB. Should I go double receiver? I guess I do. I don't have to. I'm going to take AJ Brown. I'm going to do something I usually don't, just to see how this goes. I'll take Marvin Harrison.
Oh, you just sniped Clayton so bad right there.
I swear it had nothing to do with it.
So hard right there.
Oh, that's funny.
Hey, I agree. JSC, I agree. Let's go. Chris Olave, top 5 to 10 wide receiver this year.
He's right after Harrison. I think I don't know. London Olave is still kind of a toss-up for me.
See, Clayton's all bamboozled now. He doesn't know who to pick.
He has no idea what to do. It's not too early to take Brandon Ayuk. You won't get him on the way back. Whoa, he didn't. He went double
RB, but I'll tell you what, if you can start Brees Hall JT, that's pretty strong. That's pretty strong.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, Wolfman just missed out. I know if we do happen to need a replacement, next up, he said he just missed it. But yeah, glad to have you on here. Definitely want everybody to get championships this year.
Yes.
Clayton. Oh, Clayton. All right, let's see. Interflux. Started Bijan. Let's see where he goes next.
Hey, look who made it. As Cat.
There you go. Jumping over from baseball. Appreciate it. London. Yeah, I think he's got to eat this year. I mean, just think about what he dealt with his first 2 seasons. Yeah. JSC is not crazy about Drake London.
Yeah, I mean, I get being nervous about Drake London still. But what's wrong with the QB room? The QB, you got to feel pretty good about the QB room, Captain Kirk, and then if not him, Michael Penix Jr., who, look, he's got to be better than anybody they had last year.
Definitely. I mean, he's got to be the most pro-ready of all the rookie quarterbacks. I mean, even if they didn't even have Kirk Cousins, if it was just Penix as a starting quarterback or something happened right now, you told me it was still like Penix was a starter, I'm fine with it. I still will be all over London.
You booked in Lizard King.
Yeah.
First draft with us.
Is that right? Is this first draft? I mean, he's in our Dynasty leagues, but I guess this is the first mock.
Yep. This is I can already tell the problem with the 102. There's nobody I love here.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. At this point right now, I feel like it's easier drafting from the end because you kind of know who's going to be there. Once you get to this stage, it's like, who do you really want? Because I know you're not, and neither am I, big on the Texans receivers this early.
Right. Unlike some people who've gone RB in here, I don't think that's the direction I'm going to go. I'm going to go Pittman here. I think Pittman's the guy I like the most here.
Agree. Which leads Flacco just asked, do we lose faith in Pittman? Not at all. We're going to be higher on Pittman than probably most of the industry.
Yeah. What is the worry with Pittman? Like, what's the worry with Pittman?
Yeah, nothing. I mean, I don't think we can see AD Mitchell as like legit competition here. I mean, they just needed somebody else. They did not have anything beyond him and then Downs when he was out there. But yeah, Alec Pierce really shouldn't be out there as much as he is. He's out there to block. But I'm not too worried about this. The offense is going to be better. Honestly, I feel even better about Pittman now because if Richardson gets hurt, which is the only concern I think you can have with this offense because he was hurt last year, he's been hurt in college. You got Joe Flacco now. It's like this. That might even be better for Michael Pittman.
It might almost be better for Pittman if it's Joe Flacco because
exactly.
Yeah, at least Joe Flacco will just relentlessly throw the ball to Pittman.
Yep. All right, so you went CMC, Pittman, Debo, got 2 Niners.
Yeah, I was really hoping for Waddle there, but yeah, that's the spot there in the 302 where it's just like, ugh.
Yeah, and Twisted Bliss ahead of you took 2 receivers. You cannot hate that start, Lamb, Waddle, and Devontae Smith.
No. Wow, 3 straight tight ends.
In round
We've just
3.
got 3 straight tight ends.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't think I was going to take a tight end anyways. And there's down the options. And once again, Clayton is completely tilted because McBride is off the board.
What's up, Stinger in the house? It must be football season. We're seeing a lot of familiar names in here. Must be getting close to football season.
What is up, Stinger? Wow.
Ooh, Zay Flowers at the 3-7.
I honestly was just queuing him up. I thought he was going to be there for me at the end of the round. All right. This is going to be a tricky draft tonight, I can tell.
Yes, it is. Caleb has a one-keeper PPR league. Chris Olave in the 2nd, Pacheco in the 7th, or Stroud in the 10th. I think I can pretty easily cross off Olave. Not that I don't like Olave a lot, but Olave in the 2nd, you can just draft Olave in the 2nd. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're not getting a discount there.
Pacheco in the 7th seems nice, but is Pacheco a guy I really want to keep? Stroud in the 10th seems really good too. But do I really want to waste to keep my one keeper on a QB?
Well, if it's a... Oh, okay. Well, hold on here. So Clayton going robust RB, 3 running backs in a row.
Wow.
Interesting. You know, he did this a couple of weeks ago. He's like, oh, I never take RB early. And now all of a sudden he's doing it over and over again. So I see a pattern here. But anyways, okay, so now I got to decide. I don't love the receivers that are on the board here. Okay, I'll go RB.
There you go.
And
I was gonna say, I'm not sure how you can pass on Derrick Henry here. You just called him a league winner like a week ago.
Yeah. My question is, do I go RB? Because this is PPR, but it's a 3 receiver league?
Yes.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna go.
All right, so back to Caleb. Are you taking Pacheco in the 7th or Stroud in the 10th and a keeper?
Yeah, I'm fine with Stroud in the 10th. I mean, that's much farther than you would get him typically, because it's not just a quarterback who's a starting quarterback. This is a quarterback who could be a top 5 quarterback. And so I think that's fine. Pacheco in the 7th is good, but it's not amazing. Doesn't jump out to me. You know what I mean? So I think it's Stroud.
All right, and then it's another draft, another Houston Texans wide receiver discussion. Garrett wants to know who's going to be the number 1 wide receiver in Houston.
I mean, I just took Tank, but not because I think he's the number 1 receiver. It's because Nico was gone. If Nico was there, I would have taken Nico. I think he's still the number 1 receiver. And I'm not looking at last year's season totals and saying like he's still going to be. No, I think Nico is the number 1 receiver. I think Tank is pretty close. I mean, realistically, isn't this probably like a 1A, 1B, 1C kind of thing?
Exactly. I think I agree with you. I think Nico technically could end the year as the number 1 wide receiver, but I don't think it's going to be one of those offenses where we feel like there is a true number 1 wide receiver. And just the comments here, you know, like JSC says it's going to be Diggs. Stinger says it's going to be Nico. We know Stinger's a big fan of Nico. We have people on here all the time saying it's going to be Tank. No one knows. Nobody knows. How do they join? How does Davey join one of these? You got to get here like literally right when it starts because it fills in about 10 seconds.
Gotta be quick. Yeah. Okay. So turn on notifications. That's pretty much a must here because as soon as the live stream goes live, I don't think we even wait anymore. We just get into it. Once the stream starts, the link is on the comments. You click on the link and hope to get in. Now we are just doing these mocks once a week because it's still early, right? We're not close to training camp, draft season, but we're gonna start picking it up. We'll do multiple drafts per season and try to get different people in. I think we're gonna have to set some sort of limits. But yeah, just hit the notifications as soon as we go live. Just be ready. We're ready to jump in there.
All right. Thoughts on Marvin Harrison Jr.?
Well, I'm still seeing him as a wide receiver 1 for fantasy because of the volume. Because even though I still see Trey McBride as an elite tight end, because of volume, is also because it's going to be those two guys. And Michael Wilson is really more just a deep threat. Zay Jones is just there now. Greg Dortch is just kind of an emergency clause. Who else? Is there somebody I'm forgetting about that they have? Probably. I think it's those two guys.
Yeah.
They're going to pass it a fair amount. Kyler Murray, he's attached to a good quarterback. I really believe that he is what we think he's going to be. I don't have any worry about his transition to the pros. I don't have any worry about him being able to get separation, make contested catches. I think he can do everything that you want. So
yeah,
he doesn't really have anybody who's going to threaten to take targets away from him. Now, there's some other situations where that's not the case. You know, you could have a receiver like Rome Odunze, who is an elite talent. He's got DJ Moore and Keenan Allen there next to him. You don't have to worry about that with Marvin Harrison. So, yeah, I don't think there's any reason to think that Harrison isn't going to be elite from the jump. And I think you pretty much agree because you got him ranked and you're taking him pretty much where I'm taking him. He belongs there with Olave London. I don't think it's a slam dunk to say he's going to finish ahead of those guys for fantasy because we really like Olave and London too. But, I mean, I think you're feeling pretty much the same way.
Yeah, I feel great about Marvin Harrison Jr. I think he can have a year 1 season like we saw with Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Puka. Like, why not? He's talented enough. He's got Kyler Murray. Why not? Why not?
There's no reason not to think he could immediately jump into elite status.
Flacco, Steeler fan, wants to know, will they make a play for wide receiver or are they going in the season with Pickens and Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin, I guess?
Well, good question. Now, there's not a lot newsworthy, whatever, going on other than hype slow motion highlight videos of OTAs. But yeah, this week, for some reason, it's talking about the Steelers and rumors or whatever, made up stuff from reporters that they're going to go out and get a receiver. Like, who are they going to go out and get? I saw this. It actually made me laugh kind of out loud. They're like, they're in the market for a wide receiver too. And like options include Hunter Renfrow, Corey Davis. Like, I was like, what? I'm seriously, this is what it said. Yeah, it's a little late for that. And obviously, if they were going to trade for Ayuk or something like that, I mean, come on, this would have happened before the draft, right? So, who are they going to make a play for? Honestly, is my question.
Right.
But did you see the Arthur Smith clip? They asked him who is the number 2 receiver behind George Pickens for Pittsburgh, and it was Arthur Smith rambling for like a minute straight about how like oh, he's so glad to have a job in the NFL, basically, and like, oh, whatever happens, things happen, and, stuff and things, and it's like, what? It was funny.
So the Steelers don't even know who the wide receiver 2 is what you're saying?
It was pretty obvious that they don't have one. He, of course, couldn't come out and say that, but
right.
It was pretty funny.
All right, Raymond, I'm with you. Well, I don't know if I'm with you quite this much because you got a couple guys named Breece Hall and Bijan Robinson. But he says he thinks JT is the second best running back in fantasy. I think he's worth being drafted in the first round. I think borderline first rounder, but I can't put him ahead of CMC. Well, obviously CMC, the number one running back. I can't put him ahead of Brees and Bijan. But if you wanted to argue JT over Gibbs, I'd be okay with that. Even though I do like Gibbs.
Yeah, I could definitely see him over Gibbs. I got those guys pretty close. I can't put him over Bijan either. This isn't just like irrational love for Bijan after last year. If anything, we should be more cautious and worried about Bijan. But I mean, we already know. I just mentioned the name of the guy responsible for holding him back. But anyways, yeah, I can't put him 2, but I could see 3. I could see him outperforming Brees Hall based on touchdowns and volume and things like that. Man, I kind of have a dilemma here. Okay. I actually am surprised Lamar's still out there. I guess I have to take Lamar. I mean, putting Stroud together with Tank would make sense, but I'm not going to take Stroud before Lamar because I don't have him before him.
Yeah, there's some crazy QB value in this draft and no tight end value. Like there is no tight end value.
Yeah. I looked at tight end and immediately looked back. Is there receiver value? Not really right now, but then the running backs aren't any better. So, all right, I'll just take best available. NMBS question from way back. I think these guys have all been drafted. So let's see. Rank Ayuk, London, and Harrison.
Harrison. I think I got London over Ayuk, but they're close. Harrison, London, Ayuk, but London and Ayuk are close.
Yeah, that's exactly. Harrison, London, I feel are really comparable. Ayuk, I have just a little bit after, but I think these all, again, I don't feel like super strong about one over the other necessarily. All right, then Pacheco, Achane, Jacobs.
Pacheco, Jacobs, Achane.
All right, well, I'm going Jacobs last because my concerns there. The Pacheco Achane one is really interesting. I think in redraft, I think I will. I mean, this is tricky because I feel like Achane should be drafted before Pacheco, but I'd rather draft Pacheco if you know what I mean. I know you know what I mean.
Yep.
So I'm gonna say, as far as rankings, I'll go Achane, Pacheco, Jacobs, but I'm gonna wind up with more Pacheco because I can get him around. Who knows? Maybe 2 rounds later. But in best ball, in underdog, I think you got to go Achane over Pacheco. Okay. I don't know if we already. Chase saying must be lower on Henry than the consensus. Not me. I don't know. I don't think it depends. Where's the consensus at with Henry right now?
I don't know. I don't think they're super high on Henry, but Chase, you must have missed our league winner video. Because right there on the cover, the thumbnail is Derrick Henry with a crown on his head, sitting on a king's chair in all purple.
Yep.
So
I put that as wallpaper. That thumbnail is the wallpaper on my screen. It's beautiful. I just love that purple. Just stand out. Ooh.
All right. Well, Twisted Bliss just took all the running backs.
I was gonna say he double tapped it really quick there, taking the guys he knows that you were probably gonna target. Where do you go now?
I need tight end. I think I gamble my wide receiver 5.
Yeah, this draft has been tricky. We got some sharp people in here, which we always do, but yeah, this one is going a little. I guarantee most drafts won't go this way.
No.
Stinger saying that Stroud will be the QB1 this year. Is that what I'm saying?
That's what you're seeing.
Hey,
it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough for a guy who doesn't run a lot.
But hey, you mentioned this, Nico. He was on Nico before the breakout. He definitely was on Nico before we were. And what was his other guy? He was. The Giants.
I just always remember Stinger as Darnell Mooney. That's how
Darnell Mooney. Yeah, Darnell Mooney. Well, I think more so as he said Darnell Mooney over Allen Robinson, and that was the year Allen Robinson turned to dust. So I guess he nailed that one. All right. You went with Watson. All right. You're just going for value here. Receiver, just going deep at receiver.
Yeah, I mean it's a 3 wide receiver league, so it's good to have plenty of them. I'll gamble on Watson being healthy at least half the season.
I always say this: when you get CMC or maybe Bijan, one of those type of running backs, I think that makes me lean more towards that anchor RB strategy. You know what I mean? Because I feel like I know that running back. I mean, he kind of has to. If you're going to win, pretty much has to carry the load, and then you mix and match at RB2. I mean, that I'm not saying you have to go that direction, but yeah, very balanced. There you go.
Very balanced. Christian McCaffrey. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I don't even know. I really wasn't even looking at running back there, to be honest. Maybe if like Stevenson or Zamir were still on the board, I would have grabbed one of them, but with CMC, I really do not feel like I have to that I'm in any rush to get my RB2. Like if there's a good value from my RB2, I'll take it, but I'm not going to force an RB2 when I got CMC.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, it just makes it easier to do that strategy. I do feel because he took those 2 running backs, Stevenson and Zamir, I feel after that there's kind of a tier, a little drop off, because I'm starting to get a little more worried about Aaron Jones, his volume. Connor, of course, you got to worry about the second half. Pollard, Mostert, of course. Now we're all committee backs, right? Guys who are at least timeshares. So you might as well just wait and get your better value. Now, if you wait too long, then all of a sudden you're staring at Austin Eckler, Jalen Warren, and guys like that. But yeah, I hear you. The value is definitely at receiver still.
I mean, with how good CMC is, as long as your RB2 isn't getting you 0, you're gonna match most of your opponent's points at RB. You know what I mean? Like CMC by himself is almost like 1.5 running backs.
Exactly. All right, go to tight end here.
Ooh, I was hoping maybe he'd make it back to me.
Yeah, still got a ways to go.
the most underrated tight end in fantasy.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Just help teams win back-to-back fantasy championships, and still nobody wants them.
Interesting. Achan, the backup. Well, let's talk about this. I mean, because McDaniel did come out and talk about this. Somebody asked him about this, right? Well, my interpretation of what he said was basically it's going to be a hot hand approach.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like what we saw last year. I think it's going to be exact. I don't know if I'd call Achane the backup.
Right.
Like to me, a backup is like Elijah Mitchell. Like he's Christian McCaffrey's backup.
Yes.
Achane is going to have a role. Mostert's going to probably still be technically the number one guy, and I think Jalen Wright will probably have a role as well, which is why I'm a little more down on Achane, because I do think like last year it was pretty much just Achane and Mostert. I think we could see a little bit of Jalen Wright this year. He's an explosive guy too, but I don't know if I'd call Achane the backup. That seems harsh.
A committee back. He's part of a committee, like many running backs. But I will say, again, what McDaniel said, this was just last week, I think. He basically is like, whoever steps up and, whoever shows and proves that they need touches will get it kind of thing, is open competition, is the way he put it, which I like. You've got to want to see that. He's not giving touches to somebody just because, Mostert's the veteran, or just because, Achane was drafted in this round, or just because, whatever. But that's obviously kind of scary for fantasy because you don't know who the guy is in redraft league. But I still think Achane should be drafted first because he's obviously got, crazy talent, game breaking ability. And here's the thing with Jalen Wright, he's a rookie. It's probably going to take him time to earn the trust of the coaching staff and just get the reps because he's got two guys who have been there ahead of him. And then as far as Mostert, I mean, come on. He stayed in one piece last year. This is still a guy who's 31, 32, I don't know. And
I think 32.
32. A ton of it. I mean, is he really going to do it again? Maybe. But I think we're going to see a lot of Achane. And when Achane did get back healthy, we saw more Achane than Mostert down the stretch. So I think they want Achane to kind of take the lead, but it's going to be a committee. We're going to see all three guys. I think this is the fair as Evan Ingram, the Dak Prescott of tight ends, no respect.
Yes, exactly. Like, why doesn't anybody want Dak Prescott in fantasy? Look, what am I missing here?
I mean, if you're not taking one of the first 3-4 quarterbacks off the board, I mean, honestly, I know I didn't do it, I guess, this draft, but why not just wait and get Dak Prescott or Tua? One of these guys is going to lead the league in yardage and touchdowns.
Exactly.
All right. Who fell to you? Oh, well, there goes Kyler Murray. Were you considering Kyler there?
No, I have Josh Allen.
You already have Josh Allen. Never mind.
There's some incredible QB value in this draft. I mean, we're just now seeing Kyler Murray drafted.
I agree. You know what? I'll tell you, I like that Spears pick, and is another situation where it's a committee, or whatever you want to call it, timeshare. I guess there's only two guys. I'm taking Spears over Pollard pretty much straight up, and I know I can get him a round or two later. I like Spears' upside better. He was better than Pollard last season, despite being in a worse situation, like a far worse situation. Okay, so JC saying Dak doesn't have any wide receivers outside of CeeDee Lamb. Okay, but did he last year?
I know. Okay. All right. Well, that didn't seem to hurt him last year when he annihilated everybody. Man, I can't believe Twisted Bliss did not go tight end there. Okay. Wow. I can't not take George Kittle here, right? Like, this seems insane.
Yeah, well, and after Kittle, unless you really like, which there's another tight end I like, but not yet necessarily. Yeah, there's a drop because I don't think Njoku is necessarily going to do what he did last year toward the end of the season. Bauer's very risky. Yeah, Hawkinson hurt.
I really thought he would go Kittle or a different tight end. And then I was just going to take whichever one he didn't. But I think at round 9, I think I got to take George Kittle there.
Yeah, that's still good value. Although now that I think about it, you're very Niner heavy. You got Kittle, Debo, and CMC, but I guess that's not a bad problem to have.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like I'm I don't know, Panthers heavy or something.
Yeah, there you go. Better to have
like have 3 Broncos or something.
Yeah, better to have the third or fourth option on one of those offenses than like the second option on like Carolina or Denver, right?
Yes. How many rounds?
Or even the first option. There you go, Clayton. I'm with you on this. Underdog especially, get those values. It matters so much more. Yeah, I'm loading up on Spears. Deontay. I don't think Deontay's a massive steal anymore, but I think he's still a good value. Okay, he's got a question. Superflex PPR Dynasty. We'll just assume it's one of our leagues because it probably is. Purdy and Harrison and a 25-second. Okay. Or Jettis in a first.
Projected, I don't know. We'll just say like a mid first, I guess. I think I gotta take the Purdy Harrison side. This is a pretty big trade here, but it's super flex. I think at this point we can feel pretty safe about Purdy being a QB1 in Superflex Dynasty, maybe a lower end QB1, but still a QB1. Marvin Harrison could end up being, I don't want to say Marvin. It's hard to say Marvin Harrison is going to be as good as Justin Jefferson because Justin Jefferson has legit been the best wide receiver through his first 4 years we've ever seen in the NFL. But Marvin Harrison Jr. could be an elite wide receiver. And then you're trading a second for a first. So I think in this case, I got to go the Purdy Harrison side.
Let's go, team. Let's go.
There goes Slime Ball.
All right. Sorry, you had a chance, but well, let's see. I guess you technically have a chance, but man, it's tempting to take Jettis in the first, but because it's super flex, that makes Purdy valuable. Look, for Dynasty, let's just pretend Harrison and Jefferson are pretty comparable because even if you don't think Harrison is going to be quite as good, which I think most people will assume he will be, the age difference, let's say it's comparable. Would you Purdy and a second for a first? Actually, now that I think about it, I don't know. This one's kind of tough. Let me make my pick first.
I just think in super flex, look, I know people just think like Marvin Harrison is going to be as good as Justin Jefferson, but Justin Jefferson literally has been the best wide receiver we have ever seen through his first 4 years. Statistically wise.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee Harrison is that good. But if Harrison is a top 5 fantasy wide receiver, and then you're getting a 12-ish QB, that to me, that's more than enough for Jefferson. So I'm taking, because it's super flex, I'm taking the Purdy Harrison side.
Yeah, I mean, I would say in a vacuum, this is pretty close. To me, it kind of comes down to need because as far as Purdy, is he starting for you? I would assume he would be either way. If he's your third quarterback, I can see getting a first for him. Man, I don't know. Honestly, I think I'm leaning towards the Jefferson side.
Wow. All right.
Maybe I'm just not sold on Purdy long term. I feel like that's what it is.
I think at this point we kind of have to be, though, don't we?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I was noticing that. Why does Burrow fall so low? I mean, I don't think the two have to go together because we do see, some elite receivers who don't have elite quarterbacks. But I mean, I know I talked Burrow down recently. Maybe that has something to do with it. But Burrow has had injuries. Burrow doesn't run. I don't know. I've been saying this. I don't see why Burrow really needs to get drafted before guys like that.
Yeah, I might. I don't know. I still believe in Burrow. I think we just need to see Burrow stay healthy. So, but I also think Dak, like the same thing. Like Dak, like why does Dak go so late? I don't understand. Like he legit was one of the best QBs last year in real life and in fantasy. Was carrying teams every week. Like there's not a lot of quarterbacks that you can say, oh, I won my matchup because I had 38 points from Dak Prescott from my quarterback this week. He was giving you that. He had more top 3 weeks than Josh Allen last year. And now this year, we're going to have no running game. It's everything's the same. And people are like, nah, I'm good. Like, I don't like, will he be as good as last year? Maybe not, because he was so good last year. But still, where he's being drafted, I mean, I don't know. Seems crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean, if the value is right, I'm not against taking him, but I just feel like he's been overdrafted based on what
Talking about
happened.
Burrow or Dak?
Do what?
You talking about Burrow or Dak?
Burrow.
All right, running back. Not a lot of running backs here. Well, I think this guy can at least help me early.
There you go. Okay, I think this one is pretty easy. Jonathan, Dynasty Superflex after Harrison, who's the 1-2?
I mean, I assume this is a rookie draft because Harrison should not be the 101 in a startup. But in a rookie draft, if Harrison goes 101, Caleb Williams is the easy 102. Like, no brainer 102.
Yeah, it has to be. And then, I mean, if it's Superflex, I'm taking Williams first over Harrison. I know I've seen people take Harrison, but I mean, fine, make a case for either one. It's Superflex, getting that franchise quarterback. Yeah, I'll do it.
Slim pickings at running back right now.
Yeah, no kidding. But look, you're getting upside here.
Good thing I got CMC.
He didn't go Rico. He had a chance for Rico.
I thought about Rico, but I don't know if I'm sold on Rico. I want to be sold on Rico, but I don't know. I think we're going to see like Dusty Zeke get 15 carries a game for 33 yards. Rico's going to get like 7 carries for also 33 yards, but they're going to give Zeke 15 carries for something. You know what I mean? Like,
after last season and even the year before, maybe we should not be sold on Cowboys running backs because when's the last time other than Zeke in his prime, which feels like it was decades ago, even though it was only like a couple of years, haven't really had a great running game. Well, there you go.
Which is another reason why Dak is going to probably throw it 35, 40 plus times every game and be awesome in fantasy again.
Exactly.
And one thing, so last year, I was banging the Dak Prescott drum because people were really off him because he had just come off a bad season where he threw 15 interceptions. Wasn't very good. And they switched to Mike McCarthy. And if you remember, last offseason, somehow people started running with this notion that Mike McCarthy, who's never ranked outside the top 10 in pass attempts per game as a play caller, that somehow this Mike McCarthy Cowboys offense was going to be super run heavy. It wasn't. It was super pass heavy. But I said one thing I really like about Dak this year, not having Kellen Moore and having Mike McCarthy, is it's going to be more of that West Coast offense, quick passes, timing passes. Kellen Moore is more like the down the field, take shots type of guy, which leaves some more interceptions. I said he's going to cut way down on his interceptions, and he did. And now it's everything's the same this year. Everything's the same. Mike McCarthy's still calling the plays. No running game. Like that, I don't see why Dak can't have another season. Maybe not quite as good as he had last year because he was so good, but pretty similar.
Yeah, really nothing much has changed there. In fact, the only thing that might change is with Quinn gone, maybe the defense isn't as good. Maybe that's even better for Dak. Okay.
It's a Deuce Vaughn season. What is that guy? Like 110 pounds?
Here's a good question. Favorite stacks this season? I mean, if you can pull off Burrow with Chase, that would be nice, but what else?
Well, I mean, if we're gonna, there's the obvious ones like Mahomes, Hollywood, Burrow, Chase, Dak, CD, Tua, Tyreek, or Waddle. Richardson, Pittman is a stack I like. What are some non-obvious ones?
Oh, come on,
Yeah,
dude.
I think I would look at this from the standpoint of which stacks are you actually trying to get in drafts based on where you can get them for the value. Because you could say, let's for example, I mean, Dak we know has been undervalued. You could say, well, I want AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts. But you're paying a first round price for AJ Brown, and you're gonna have to get Hurts in round 3. So
right,
yeah, that's a great stack, but it might not be your best value. I would say I like if I'm taking Drake London, I want to get Kirk Cousins late, and I'll take a quarterback like that who could wind up being a great value super late. I think that's especially an underdog. I know I'm doing that, but I don't mind doing that in redraft because if I'm not going early in quarterback, I'll go late and I'll get a guy who's going to get a ton of volume. Pittman AR is probably my favorite though. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna say no to the Jets one because I really would rather not have Aaron Rodgers for fantasy. I just feel like the ceiling isn't high enough.
Yeah. I think Aaron Rodgers is okay for me in best ball as my QB2, but I don't want him as my QB1 like in a redraft league.
Yeah. Now this, you talk about underdog. I have way too much of this. I have McBride and Murray on so many best ball teams right now, and I'm not sorry. So that's my favorite best ball stack. But again, if you're doing this in redraft, I feel like Kyle Murray is still being a little bit undervalued, but just getting McBride in a redraft, in our drafts, I know I'm not going to get him past round 3 because Clayton, but yeah, he's going earlier. But if you can get him round 4, maybe round 5 of your home league or your whatever league you're in, and then you get Murray late, yeah, that's a nice one. Yeah, I don't think. Would you call QJ a discount?
No, I think QJ is going to be one of those guys like Rashad Perryman, one of these guys who like everybody's always going to have hope for, and then like he's going to end up on some team, or or maybe just by sheer has to, he'll like have 2 great games to end the season out of this year. Like they had no one to throw the ball to, and he just got force fed all these targets. And then going into next year, everybody will be excited for him again. Or he'll get, his contract will be up and he'll sign with some new team. It's like, oh my gosh, Quentin Johnson is going to play with, like whoever now. Oh my gosh, this is it. Like, yeah, no, I always said he's one of those guys that had a lot of risk, and nothing he showed last year. Man, it was bad. It was bad. It's really bad.
Yeah, beyond bad. I would say that beyond bad. I think QJ is not a discount. He's more like scrap heap.
How about the new Josh Allen, Gabe Davis stack?
The new Gabe Davis. There you go. MVS and or Chase Claypool. Take your pick. I see nobody's touched QJ in this draft. He's still out there.
Yeah, please don't.
All right. There you go. J.K. Dobbins off the board.
Yeah, people still believe. Still believe. It's like, I guess somebody's got to be the first running back to come back from Achilles, but maybe not.
You know what? I'll say that we've been talking about Deontay Johnson for a while. Bryce,
Right.
I do feel is definitely going to be much better. I mean, if it's not a super flex league, he really doesn't need to be drafted in redraft. But I do think Bryce Young will be adequate.
I agree. I think Bryce Young is a great buy low in Dynasty Superflex. Look. So I can't take credit for this. And let me make sure it's accurate. Let me make sure it's accurate. I just went off of what somebody on our YouTube channel said. Okay, yep, it's true. So, 2022. Who was the quarterback? So 2 years ago, who was the quarterback who did nothing his whole career, thought his career was over, and then was one of the biggest surprises of the entire season?
In 22?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
I'm going to go with... Did nothing his whole career, 2022.
Thought he was going to be a bust. Drafted by the Jets. Thought he was going to be a total bust.
Geno Smith.
Geno Smith, thank you. Last year, who was a quarterback, number 1 pick at one point, looked like a total bust, and just signed a huge extension after 1 year?
Former number 1 pick?
Yeah, why is this so hard?
Baker Mayfield?
Baker Mayfield, yes, thank you. Looked like for 5 years was a complete bust on like 4 different teams. Nobody wanted him. Like even the chats know. Come on, Pierre. Even the chats know. Dave Canales, offense coordinator for Baker Mayfield last year, saved his career, just got him an extension. 2 years ago, quarterbacks coach for Seattle, saved Geno Smith. And Geno Smith wasn't even good last year. He turned back into like Geno Smith. Why can't Dave Canales take Bryce Young, who was just the number 1 pick, and make him good?
Good point. I mean, it's not just a he can't be worse kind of thing, but really, we have to look at the fact that Deontay Johnson is a legit receiver. No disrespect to Adam Thielen, but he shouldn't be a number 1 receiver at this point. I mean, he was let go by his hometown team, the team that made him, a thing, because he went to whatever college in Minnesota. Thielen was just glad to be on a roster. He should not have been the number 1 receiver. Mingo should not have been drafted as high as he was, right? So I would have been much more in on the Bryce Young revival if they had taken another receiver besides Leggett. Not my favorite choice there. Well, whatever. That like Leggett's at least another body. Oh, interesting. All right, JSC is saying Leggett stands out over Deontay Johnson. I don't know about that. We'll see.
We'll see.
But at least is another active body, right? And it's got to be better. And then with the Canales thing, I mean, it's going to take a little time, but like you said, it's very promising. So you don't need to draft him in redraft, but in Dynasty, still a great buy low. I thought he was a great buy low even before this because,
Yeah,
I mean, he had just so much working against him last year. Yeah, good point too. They actually will have a better running game now. They're the first team to take a running back. I mean, when he's on the field, that's also another dimension there. Miles Sanders was obviously a waste of money.
yeah, and look, I think Jared Goff is probably the most recent example we can say where first round pick, Rams traded a bunch of picks to get him, was awful year one, like complete bust year one, but he was playing with Jeff Fisher. What happened in year two? They brought in Sean McVay. And no, I mean, Jared Goff is not an elite QB, but he's an above average NFL QB. I think Dave Canales can turn Bryce Young. Like it's not like this wasn't like a shocking number one pick. It's not like people were like, oh my gosh, they traded up to take Bryce Young? Like, or what? That's crazy. Like we knew it was going to be Bryce Young, Caleb Williams 1 and 2, right? This wasn't like it wasn't like, because people were pretty surprised that the Rams traded up to get Jared Goff. So, this wasn't like the Bears trading up to get Mitch Trubisky or where people are like shocked by it. It's like, yeah, we knew Bryce Young was probably going to be the number one pick. That wasn't a surprise. So it's not like the talent isn't there. Like, it's not like, oh, this guy should have, was a, had the makings of a bust the whole time or something. So I still think there's plenty of potential in Bryce.
Agree. All right. Well, that's it. No more potential for this draft is over, but we're going to go over each of these teams. Let's see. Interflux, you're funny in saying the two people with season in their usernames were just despicable. Yeah, well, Ale, you've got to always watch out for Ale. He actually from afar sniped me on a couple of my picks because he does that. It's very sharp.
Yeah.
Slimeball at least is still on the green, still active here, so that helps. All right. Well, let's start with the 1-1 here, and that is Twisted Bliss. CD, Waddle, Devontae Smith, Hollywood, and then went Swift, Ramondre, Zamir White, Singletary, A.D. Mitchell, Tua, Troy Franklin, Palmer, Demarcus Robinson, and then last pick, tight end Luke Musgrave. This is a series of runs, receivers, running backs, receivers, and then value at QB and tight end. I feel like pulled this off pretty well.
Yeah, definitely feel like he pulled it off pretty well. I like the 4 running backs he got. It's obviously like the 4 wide receivers he got. You got the Tua Waddle stack. Got potential on the bench. I mean, ending up with Luke Musgrave as your last pick is pretty good. So definitely think it worked out for him. Definitely. Good team. Very good team.
Yeah, honestly, easy for me to say this is my favorite team so far, but I would love this team. I'll put it that way. You got 4 really good receivers. I mean, you're going to mix and match a running back, but I feel like all those guys could be worthy of starting. That's the only thing. You don't have a clear number 1 running back, but that's okay when your receivers are that good. All right. But Chris got potentially the 1-1 in CMC. Let's see who you surrounded him with. Pittman, Debo, Josh Allen, Terry, Worthy, Watson. And then the running backs here, you got Kittle, which is nice value there. Spears, Hubbard, Charbonnet, Gibson, Tank, and Justice Hill. Before I give my thoughts, how do you feel your running back room turned out after CMC?
It's dicey, but I feel like Spears can give me enough. And I like if this was an actual redraft league, I feel like Spears and Chuba can give me enough early on. Play the waiver wire game. But yeah, it's dicey. But when you got CMC, you can be a little dicey. But I would love this team in real life. I mean, this is the type of team I would love to have. Like, okay, all I have to do this season is make my RB2 good. Like, that's it. If I find a good RB2, good luck, everybody else. You need a CMC injury or something. You know what I mean? So I would honestly love this team in a real league.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this personally: if Bliss had not taken both Mondre and Zeus right there, if you would have landed one of those running backs in round 7, yeah, I think you would just you're set because you already have a stud RB2, I think, and you just set everywhere. But I do like the value on Spears. You did what you do. You took smart shots at running backs with upside. Let's see what happens. But of course, you got pretty much, I'd say maybe not the best receiver room because Bliss, of course, took 4 receivers before you did. But probably the second best receiver room. I mean, I think right now you're at the very least the second best team so far. And then let's go to team 3. At very least. Mexi Madden took Tyreek Hill and then Achane, double tapping Dolphins. Again, we talked about this. You got 3 Niners. How do you feel about taking 2 players from the same team with your first 2 picks?
Yeah, but I mean, when it's the number 1 offense in football, it's fine. And it's a wide receiver and a running back, so it's fine.
Yeah, and it is the number 1 offense in football. Glad we agree on that. Sam Laporta started a little tight end run. Diggs in round 4. Pickens, Kamara, Keon Coleman, Kyler Murray, Jalen Warren, Khalil Shakir, Rico, Pearsall, Roman Wilson, and then Jaden Daniels to back up Kyler.
2 Kylers. Got 2 Kylers on the team. It's good. The wide receivers just feel like, okay, obviously Tyreek Hill is great, but then Diggs, Pickens, Coleman, Shakir, it's just the rest of the wide receiver room is just okay. And then, the running back room is just okay. So, yeah. It's just an okay team, I guess. Sorry.
Yeah, not some of my favorite players. I mean, just not in on Keon Coleman. So I would have taken JSN or somebody else. And then I think instead of Warren, just go for more upside. Go with Trey Benson. Go with Jerome Ford. Would have been a nice value there. So, yeah, the first half was good. But I mean, even besides, let's say Diggs is fine. Let's say he's the 1 seed. Let's say he puts up 900 yards and he's fine. Okay, but still, yeah, I think the bench is not my favorite. Paper at the 4 took Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams, Kelsey, Kenneth Walker, Mahomes, Ridley, Aaron Jones, B-Rob, Sutton, Dobbs, Eckler, Cook, Thielen, and Keaton Mitchell. We have some experience on the bench there.
Yeah, definitely some experience on the bench. And a guy with no ACL or recovering ACL, I should say. Jefferson, Adams, and this whole team has a lot of experience. Ridley, Aaron Jones. There's a lot of experience on this team. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Walker needs to go that early. I would have liked a more upside wide receiver there as my wide receiver 3. And then it probably would have just been fine. If you'd gone Hollywood, Pickens, Terry, even Diggs, if you like Diggs over Walker, and then I'd be fine with I guess you didn't have a running back yet. Now that I look at it, so maybe you did need Walker there. I don't know if I want Aaron Jones, Brian Robinson as my RBs. Yeah, I don't know. This team, can't put my finger on it. This team just feels very just very okay. It'll just be okay.
Yeah, look, I'm okay with Devontae Adams there. I know that's probably one of the picks you like less. Kelsey is probably going to go there. In our drafts, that's a little early, but most leagues, he'll probably go about there. And the Walker pick, I actually don't mind because, man, we had a run right there on the running backs in round 4. So he was probably the best left. And if you waited, I mean, yeah, who knows? But maybe you should have just waited, right? Maybe this team would have been better off going 0 RB, taking a Hollywood or McLaurin there, and then mix and match at RB. I mean, do you think that would have made it better?
Yeah, maybe you could have skipped Ridley, and gotten a Stevenson.
Yeah, it's solid though. I mean, you got some solid players. I don't see any holes in this lineup. You have a high floor. We'll put it that way. Amal, At Team 5, got Chase, Evans, McBride, Kirk, and Deontay. So this team looks pretty 0 RB to me. Mixon, Connor, Gus, Trey Benson, and then Vidal with Purdy as the quarterback, and then Douglas Burton Mims for some depth there. Is this a good 0 RB team?
Yeah, I like this team a lot. 4 really good wide receivers, an elite tight end, solid running backs. Purdy's fine as a late round QB1. And then you took some shots on some wide receiver depth. Like it a lot, definitely.
Yeah, I feel like it's true. I agree. It was tough to get some good values in this draft. Some players went earlier than normal. There were some runs on positions. So trying to get stacks, yeah, I think he pulled it off. I like that receiver room. I'd be happy with it. You got a stud tight end. He waited on quarterback. I think that was smart. So yeah, that's pretty solid. And then Yog, the Lizard King at 6, went with Sun God, Kyron, DJ Moore, DK Metcalf, Kincaid, Rice, Pollard, Najee, Curtis Samuel, Jordan Love, Mike Williams, Gabe Davis, J.K. Dobbins, and then Goddard with the last pick. So we got, I guess, an anchor team here with Kyron as the RB1.
Yeah. Again, these wide receivers, I mean, obviously, if Sun God should be great. DJ Moore, DK Metcalf, Rashee Rice. That feels very early for Rashee Rice, but I mean, I don't know. It just feels okay to me. Yeah, again, this is just another team that just like it's not bad. Like I'm not saying like, oh, this team's terrible, but it just feels like it's an okay team. Like it'll need some work during the season.
Yeah, I think the first 6 picks, and I would say Rice, I feel like I could be wrong. Like he's slid up a little bit in the rankings here, according to Sleeper. I feel like he was higher than he's been, but doesn't matter. I like that start, I think, a lot. If Kyron is still a stud running back, this is a really strong core. Pollard, Harris as your RB2. Okay, fine. Those aren't my favorite picks personally. So, like, I would rather have Connor or Mostert or Monty than Pollard, or wait for Spears. I'd rather have B-Rob or Edwards, but whatever. That's personal preference. It's just the bench here. Curtis Samuel, Mike Williams, Gabe Davis. I'd rather have more upside players there. But overall, I actually like your start a lot. Tony went with Puka, Ayuk, Zay, Rashad White, Andrews, Dak, probably earlier than we've ever seen Dak go. No disrespect today. Raheem Mostert, Jonathan Brooks, Lockett, Ty Chandler, Kendrick Miller, Braylon Allen, Mooney, and Malachi Corley.
This is a pretty solid team. I mean, obviously, Flowers very early. Maybe not very early. We typically see him more like early 4th, so maybe not super early. But look, if you like Flowers, I'm fine with it. Rashad White's good there. Andrews, Dak. So I like your 3 wide receivers. Rashad White, Mostert, Brooks. Seems solid. Back him up with Chandler, Kendra, Braylon Allen. Lockett, Mooney, Corley. Yeah, I think this is a pretty good team overall. Pretty good.
Yeah, I don't think there's any reaches here. Like I said, Dak usually doesn't go that early, but it's fine. I think it might have benefited from taking another receiver there, and then you probably could have got Dak for the next round. But still, I like the upside here pretty much at every position. I think it's a pretty good draft, especially for being in the middle there at the 7th pick. And then Interflux, very interesting drafts. So he says they stick with his team. He's got 6 rookies, a bunch of rookie receivers, but he started out going strong at running back. So let's see. Bijan and Saquon, pretty good. Nico, James Cook as the 3rd RB, and then Jalen Hurts. Ooh. And then here are the receivers: Ladd McConkey, Brian Thomas, Jameson Williams, okay, not a rookie. Then you got Xavier Leggett, Jalen Polk, Luke McCaffrey, and Brendan Rice. And Njoku is the tight end with Corum as another running back. In a redraft league, you pull this off.
Very. I'm okay with the Bijan Barkley start. I think that's great. But look, there's times where it's like, hey, this guy's a value. Like, I don't even know if James Cook is a value there. I think that's just kind of like he's not a bad pick there, but I don't think it's like, oh my gosh, James Cook fell to me in the fourth. You know what I mean? Like there comes a time where you have to stay like, okay, I might like James Cook, but for my team, for this league, James Cook is not the right pick. Right? Because you went Bijan Barkley. You're basically drafting in a way that's like Bijan and Barkley are going to carry my team. I need to start 3 wide receivers. I can't have Ladd McConkey, Brian Thomas, and Jameson Williams, being my wide receivers, and Nico Collins being and Xavier Leggett and Jalen Polk. It's because, yeah, these guys, sure, they could end up being good. They're rookies, but they could also end up being complete busts. And then what are you doing? What are you going to do? You know what I mean? You need some guys that like DK Metcalf, Christian Kirk, Stephon Diggs, Hollywood Brown, like whatever, Amari Cooper, Jaden, like guys are gonna be at least good in fantasy when you start running back. So yeah, I'm okay with the running back start, but man, going James Cook, Jalen Hurts, and again, I know Jalen Hurts was a great value there for sure, but man, really needed those wide receivers, I think.
Yeah, being that it's a 3 receiver league, I mean, you're basically where you take James Cook there, you're basically committing to I'm flexing a running back every week with Cook, and you're hoping that 2 of those rookies are worth starting every week. I don't think any of those last 4 guys, honestly, you're going to want to start. I like Ladd McConkey, but as like a 4th receiver, maybe a 3rd receiver. I'm in on Jameson Williams, but again, that's still a risky pick. So very risky, yeah. But we'll see. And then we got Ale. Didn't go 0 RB, went anchor, I guess, if you want to call it that. Pacheco. And then to Garrett Wilson, Drake London, T. Higgins, Jaden Reed, AR, and Pitts. And then the rest of the running backs are Zach Moss, Jerome Ford, Zeke, Marshawn Lloyd, Algier with Shaheed and Michael Wilson.
Yeah, this feels like a good team, like a good squad. I like Garrett Wilson, Drake London start. That's great. I still think T. Higgins will be good. I mean, he'll be up and down, but he's your wide receiver 3. Love Pacheco there. I think Pacheco's great. Jaden Reed is your wide receiver 4/flex. Good. Richardson, Pitts. Then I like those running backs you grab. I think Shaheed is being slept on. Michael Wilson has potential. So, yeah, it doesn't stand out. I mean, look, Ale's been drafting with us almost since day one, and he drafts a lot of really strong teams. It doesn't stand out as one of your best teams ever, but it's still a very good team.
I do like this, even though I'm not crazy about Higgins there, but I like the running backs where you took them. I like the specific players you took and the upside there. Did Snipe be kind of on Marshawn Lloyd? Moss was pretty solid. Jerome Ford in on. So I like this team. I think this wound up being a pretty good value team for the second half. All right, Slime Ball. Managed to only auto once, I think, right? Was it once?
Twice? No, he autoed 2. Bowers and Chubb. Well, I gave him Bowers and Chubb. So not bad.
All right. Well, let's see how this turned out. Jahmyr Gibbs, Olave Cup, Jacobs, Cooper, Stroud, Jason, Javonte, Bowers, Chubb, Jalen Wright, Judy, and then a backup tight end and a backup quarterback.
Yeah, Gibbs, Olave, great start. I think Cup there is okay. We'll see. Jacobs, I think that was great value on Jacobs, getting him that late. Cooper there is fine. Stroud there is good value. JSN is fine. Javonte, great. I think the first 8 picks are really good here. Obviously, Bowers and Chubb, I forced them on you. Right? Judy, Hawkinson. I mean, the end of the draft is just kind of like whatever. But I think those first 8 picks were really, really good, honestly.
Yeah, look, I know these are just mocks, but still, when you do the real draft, the second half of the draft can be just as important as the first half. So you got to make sure you make smart picks. I don't love any of those picks there at the end. So as far as the start, risky with Cup there that early. And personally, instead of Jacobs, I prefer either White Cook or Pacheco, but I get it. Jacobs could be good. So solid core, not so great bench. Clayton, still tilted.
Here we go.
And get his guy.
Here we go.
Robust RB again. Brees Hall, Jonathan Taylor and Travis Etienne, and I really feel like that pick was out of spite. So because I took Marvin Harrison, because he actually said in the comments that yes, that was out of spite. So thank you. He didn't want me to get Etienne. Neighbors, Keenan, Godwin, Addison, D-Hop, Wicks, Dotson, Javon Baker. Quarterback is Burrow. Tight end is Jake Ferguson.
Okay, I will say this. I like the fact that if you're going to go 3 running backs, you basically said, okay, these guys are going to have to carry my team. The reason I drafted these 3 running backs is to carry my team. I don't need to then feel like, oh my gosh, it's round 7 and I only have 3 running backs. Let me go grab another running back, which is kind of like the pitfall we saw with Interflux. Even though, he did it in round 4, and I don't think he felt like, oh my gosh, I need another running back. It was more like, hey, I got 2 studs that are going to carry me at running back. I don't need to worry about running back for a while. So I do like that you did that. The second thing I'll say, though, is you should never, I know you did it out of spite. I don't even know, would you have taken, if you're staring at Etienne or Henry, would you have gone Etienne over Henry?
Well, I probably would have taken Etienne. I actually might have taken both because the tank pick, I was like, I guess. It would have been a toss-up. I might have taken both, though, where I was at.
Yes, well, the point is, so it's kind of like cutting off your nose to spite your face. It's like, okay, no, for real, because it's like, you didn't want Pierre to get Etienne. Well, he got Derrick Henry. It's not like you really hurt Pierre. He got Derrick Henry and tanked out. But instead, you ended up with 3 running backs, and now your wide receivers are Malik Neighbors, Keenan Allen, Chris Godwin, Jordan Addison, DeAndre Hopkins, Wicks, Dotson, and Baker, which I'll say isn't terrible when you go RB. I think you made the best of it. But at the same time, that wide receiver room doesn't get me all, feeling excited. So, yeah, it's like you're,
I love it. So he didn't want me getting those massive values. He likes both Etienne and Henry, and that normally he doesn't. This is the first. Okay, but here it is. Here's what it comes down to. He hurt me and still got a guy who likes. He's like, I'm
I don't think you even hurt Pierre. I don't even think you hurt Pierre, honestly, but okay.
It's yeah, man, that Marvin Harrison pick must have really
You know what it's like? It's like if you were driving your car and somebody cut you off and then you slammed into the back of them and said, yeah, I totaled my car, but look at your car too.
Exactly. Now who's laughing?
Exactly. It's like, okay.
That's funny. Well, you know what? It is. Now that I think about it, it does kind of make me sad. But let's see. All right. So here's my team. I got Derrick Henry as my anchor. I got A.J. Brown, Marvin Harrison Jr. Don't know if I mentioned that yet, but at the 2.1, I did manage to get Marvin Harrison before anybody else as my number 2 receiver. I feel like that was a great pick. After taking Marvin Harrison Jr., let me start over again. A.J. Brown, Marvin Harrison Jr., Derrick Henry, Tank Dell. It's my wide receiver 3. Lamar, Odunze, Monty, Evan Ingram, Josh Downs, Chase Brown, Jacoby Myers, Bucky Irving, Eli Mitchell, and then Rashad Bateman.
Honestly, I'm trying to look at this team. Okay, what if you had Etienne instead of Dell? Would I like this team more or less? And I think I would like this team less.
All right. So it helped me.
Etienne is fine. And as somebody who had Travis Etienne in multiple leagues last year, I feel like because he had that insane stretch where he was incredible. I think people have kind of overlooked the fact that if you really look at him, you look at his game logs, he had that stretch here where he went, let's see, where was it? He had that stretch where it was 36, 23, 22, 25. But you look at the rest of the games. Okay, he had 21 week 1, 6, 17, 10, 6, 8, 12, 17, 17, 9, 6. He was actually mostly not special last year for fantasy. So, I still like Etienne, but I don't understand the Etienne crazy hype for him. So I think I like your team better with Tank, honestly, than Henry and Etienne. Because then you were looking at like Odunze as your wide receiver 3, or maybe you wouldn't have gone Lamar there. Maybe you would have passed on him, but then you're looking at what? Keenan and Odunze. Well, you probably wouldn't have gone Keenan and Odunze. Maybe Godwin and Odunze, something like that. So, yeah, I think I like your team better the way it worked out, actually.
Interesting. Duly noted. All right. Yeah. Yeah, I was between Godwin and Odunze for my flex there. I think I'm fine either way. Maybe in retrospect, I might have gone Godwin, but I decided to throw Clayton a bone. All right. Well, there we go. That's our latest draft. Do you want to get in on one of these? Got to be quick. Hit notifications to make sure that you know when we go live. We will definitely go live again on Wednesday. We're going to do Sunday night again for Underdog. I know a lot of y'all jump in there with us. If you haven't signed up for Underdog, don't know what it's about, well, you'll find out. But even before then, you can sign up and get your account now. Just make sure you use promo code ENDGAME, get all those special picks and the bonus cash for your first time deposit. So check that out. In the meanwhile, we're still dropping videos every single week, getting you prepared, because before you know it, it's going to be actual draft season. So thanks everyone for checking in. We'll see you on the next one.